HAZOP procedures. Okay, there are a few steps for HAZOP procedures. The first one is begin with the detailed flow sheet. Okay, PFD and PIND. All right, so that's why you need your information through your PFD and PNID. Okay, from your PFD and PIND, you break the flow sheet into a number of process units. Okay, break the flow sheet, okay, into a few unit of processing unit. Okay, for example, you in your the whole PNID and also your PFD, you can uh, group, okay, or you can break your plan into a few subunit such as a reactor system, a boiler house, storage area, maybe a column, okay, for your HAZOP procedures. Okay, then, okay, for example, the reactor system. So you have your reactor area, okay, so you can consider it as a one unit, your storage as a one unit, your column one unit, your heat exchanger is one unit. So you already select a unit for this HAZOP study. Okay, so the first step is to select a unit or this group, okay, or break your PFD and also PNID into a few units. Okay, then just select one unit. Okay, for a unit that you have that have been selected, okay, choose a study node. Okay, choose a study node. What is study node actually? Okay, study node is a point, okay, point or location of your unit. Okay, so you can consider where you can start your HAZOP study. Okay, choose a study node. Okay, location of study. Okay, for example, in your pipeline. Okay, in your pipeline as a unit. Okay, so you can find which part in your pipeline will be your study node. Okay, so first you select a unit, then you can choose a study node from that unit. Okay, after that you can describe the design intent of the study node. Okay, so how you expect this process going to be operated. Okay, so if your reactor, for example, your reactor, okay, you need, okay, what is the basic design of reactor? Okay, you have your inlet, okay, you have your outlet, then you have your process. Okay, so that's the intent of your design. Okay, so if your intent of your design, you have your inlet, outlet, and so on. So this inlet, outlet, and also the process should be included in your study. Okay, so the third one, you know what the design intent of your equipment. The fourth procedures is to pick up a process parameters. Okay, basically process parameters is already been fixed, okay, for your equipment. Okay, process parameters such as flow, level, temperature, pressure, and so on. Okay, you have a list of process parameters in this node. Okay, you have your volume, reaction, sample, component. Okay, all of these are process parameters. Okay, that's why you need to know what is your design intent. Such just the example that I give you previously. Okay, you have your reactor, then you have your process. So if you have process inside this reactor, you should also have your process parameters. Okay, so for reactor, maybe you have your flow. Okay, remember inlet and outlet, you have your flow. Inside the reactor, you have your level and also the temperature inside for inlet, outlet, and also inside this reactor. Then you should also have your pressure and concentration and so on. Right. So this is a process parameters that need to be studied in your HAZOP procedures. Okay. Then the next procedure or the next step is to apply a guide word. Okay. A guide word to the process parameters. Okay. Guide word to process parameters. you in heads-up studies there are a list of guide words. Okay, what we do with this guide word? Okay, this guide word is functioning to suggest possible deviations. Okay, this guide word will guide you to detect how this possible hazard could occur. Okay, in a way that process condition may depart from their design. Okay, deviate from the intent process. Okay, so in other words, this guide word will help you to find the possible faults in your process. Okay, so a list of guide words is shown in table 10.3. Okay, table 10.3 is referring to your textbook. Okay, some of the guide words, okay, process parameters combination are meaningless. Okay, some combination of this guide word and previous process parameters can be meaningless. Okay, we will see what is it mean by meaningless. Okay, so the next step after you find your guide word to your process parameters, you try to see how this deviation is applicable. Okay, basically meaningless and also deviation applicable is related. Okay, okay, these two word is related. Okay, you try to find if this deviation is applicable or not. So if this deviation is not applicable, automatically this combination of guide word and process parameters are meaningless. Or if you can identify earlier about the combination of certain guide words to process parameters is already meaningless, so you don't have to determine is it does this deviation is applicable or not. Okay, then you can determine if this deviation is applicable or the hazard is applicable. You can determine the possible causes, okay, and also the suggestion of protective system. Okay, if it is applicable, okay, wait, okay, if this deviation or fault is applicable, the hazard is applicable, you can determine the causes and also how to prevent it. Okay, any protective or prevention system. Okay, in this step. Finally, you can evaluate the consequences and also the recommendation action. Okay, from this hazard, you have the causes and protective. We can also determine the consequences and also the suggestion of protective system. Okay, recommendation action. And finally, record all information. How you record all of your heads-up studies? Okay, all your heads-up studies can be recorded into a table. Okay, all this information can be recorded in a table. Okay, then you repeat step 5 until 9 until all the applicable guide words have been applied to chosen process parameters. Then you going back, repeat step 4 until step 10, all applicable process parameters that have been considered for the given study note. And finally, you repeat step 2 until step 11 until all study notes have been considered for the given section and proceed to the next section of flowsheet. So basically this step 10, 11 and 12 just to highlight that you need to repeat all the procedures. Okay, remember first you have your PNID, then you break it into a few units. Okay, then from the few these units, okay, you just choose one unit and then you do all these heads-up studies. Okay, you pick a node and then you pick a process parameters and then you pick a guide words. So you repeat these procedures, okay, for another nodes, and then from nodes, okay, after you done all your heads up studies for all the nodes in that unit, then you change your unit, okay, until you covered all your PNID unit. Okay, so basically this step 10, 11 and 12 just to remind you that you need to repeat all this process for a given for the same guide words and also parameters, not the same, okay, but using these parameters, process parameters and also guide words to make a heads up studies on all nodes and all units. Okay, so basically if you done all of these procedures, you have covered most of the heads up studies for your plant.